Good evening, everybody. We are back to Big Man Campus, and we are live. College football week 10 preview, as always, here on a Wednesday night, a Wednesday evening. It's 9 o'clock, and that means only one thing, breaking down another week in college football. My name is the Big Man Campus, joined with my trusty co-host, Ryan D'Amico. Ryan, how you doing tonight?
Fantastic, Jeff. How you doing?
Many people watching the World Series. We got it on here as well. Kind of a pitcher's duel so far. Two great pitchers going at it. One of which I thought was going to be pulled, but looks like they're going to stay with him. 1-1, top of the fourth. We'll keep you updated. But it's college football time, Ryan. So, many, whether you listen live, you listen on the replay, we're kind of catching a little steam here, Ryan. 3-1 last week. You go 1-1. I took 2-0. I think I'm 2-0 the last 2 weeks, Ryan. So, we're kind of gaining some steam, and NFL podcast has done pretty well lately, and this is kind of the time where I think not only do we kind of get our kind of get going, but I think a lot of these teams do as well. You start to see rhythms with a lot of these teams. I mentioned finding teams that you just have success with. For us this year, whether it's Louisiana Tech or Navy last year, finding teams that you have success with and kind of running with them. So, what we'll do, Ryan, it's just you and I tonight. So we'll have kind of a time to break down plenty of games and plenty of listener games as well. Got some good ones recommended by those guys, and we'll chat about our two best bets as well. Feel free, if you're on and listening to the show, you want to communicate with us, feel free, jump on the chat box and chat with us here, and make your voice be heard, Ryan.
For sure.
Trey, you're not watching Game 7 of the World Series. Yes, we are. It's right out in front of us here. But baseball's one of those things where you can kind of just have it going on in the background. Best Gambler, how you doing? Ryan, pretty good week last week. We seem to have it going. So let's jump in everything here. We'll start off with a listener game. And if you have a game that you want us to get to live, feel free. We'll get to it as well. First one, Fred Courier, Ryan, our trusty good friend Fred Courier, up there in the New York, northern New York area, Syracuse, I believe he's in. He wants us to talk about UNC laying 10 against Georgia Tech, over under 62. Now, Ryan, interesting thing about this game, opened at 57, so the line's been moving up. We're moving on up like a Jefferson's with this one. And best line of the week has to be Memphis. Matt, wait on that, all right? Please. We will talk about that one. So the total's moved. People are jumping on the over here. Fred, in this game, you look at UNC, they've covered 5 of 8 this year. They're off a bye. Seems like they haven't played in a while. I don't know about you. It doesn't seem like that. They've won 2 straight, Miami and University of Virginia. So, UNC's been a pretty effective team. They've been very good offensively, very efficient. Mitch Trubisky, Ryan, 71% completion percentage, top 3 in the country. This kid's been on fire all year. And, Elijah Hood, that offense, very good. I mean, they have a plethora of wide receivers. The issue for me, though, against Georgia Tech is UNC is awful against the run. 96th in the country versus the run, giving up over 200 yards a game. And, Ryan, you look at what Georgia Tech's done lately. On offense, 36 points a game, 8.3 yards per play. Just rolling right now offensively. And, UNC we know can score as well. They're going to score into the 30s. Last 2 years in this series, 38-31, 48-43. At 62, I would actually look over in this game. I know obviously the number's been bet up already anyway, but I think this one could get into the 70s, to be honest. But at 62, I think it's a pretty conservative total. Fred, if I were you, I would look to play over in this game.
Yeah, I probably would look over as well. North Carolina, you're still obviously hungry, still battling, tied for first place in that Coastal Division with Virginia Tech. Record-wise, obviously, Virginia Tech holds that tiebreaker from their head-to-head win. So, it's not like North Carolina is not focused or anything. So, obviously, they have something to play for where like you said, it seems like they haven't played in a while, so they'll be ready to go. And with Georgia Tech, granted their last couple games weren't against the most superior opponents, but quarterback Thomas, he's starting to maybe get back into the swing of things like it was in 2014, and they've strung together a couple wins. I just
It's
think
not like
that,
UNC's anything special defensively.
well, that's the thing. They're not very good defensively. Obviously everyone knows about the struggle against the run, but just collectively, they're just not a very good defense at all. You would think that the option should be able to have some success. And with UNC getting Elijah Hood back, it was pretty evident in the games that he missed just how much that he's a big part of their offense. So with him in the lineup, Trubisky and that offense should, I think, be able to really have some success here. So I would look over as well. 62, I think is a pretty decent number.
Yeah, I just don't think they're very good against the run. I don't even though they have a week to prepare here. I don't think that's going to change in a week or two. And that's why I always have kind of I get what you're saying there, bro. As far as you have a week to prepare or whatever, but
sure, that helps.
I mean, it doesn't replace the talent you have. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can always prepare for it, but I mean they've seen it every year. It's not like they haven't faced the option before, but it's a tough offense to prepare for, and I think it's going to be effective. I think both these teams score into the 30s. So for me, I would probably look over. Will it make my card? I don't know. I definitely feel like the line's gotten away a little bit. I mean, the line's moved 5 points. So clearly, a lot of people are liking the over here.
Yep.
But Fred, if I were you, maybe you want to, throw it in a teaser or something. I don't know. But 62 should get the job done. But probably won't be on my card. Next one, over 7-1 last 8 meetings. Well, Ryan, that's a great point. And look, I mean, like I said, Georgia Tech 3 straight overs. I would play this nothing but over for me. Sorry. Next one. Let's go to the big one, right? 8 o'clock. Alabama laying 7 against Louisiana State University. Over under 44.5. If you like LSU in the money line, plus 250. But I'll tell you, Ryan, I do not like LSU in the money line at all. I actually like Alabama in this game, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, I'm going to go through this breakdown a little bit different than normal. First of all, Ryan, and I know you can agree, why go against Alabama right now? I mean, what sense is that?
I hear you.
You look at LSU. They failed to cover in 5 of 6 as an underdog. If you like the under, all 7 games going under this year. But I'm not looking at the total here. Alabama, 44 points a game. On the road, 50 points per game. And defensively, they're giving up just 14.9 points per game. I mean, that discrepancy is unbelievable. Lately, since Ed Orgeron's come in, Ryan, take a listen of who they played and defensively what they rate. Missouri is a total joke on the defensive side of the ball. Southern Miss can't stop me and you, Ryan. And Ole Miss gives up 35-plus a game, it seems like. So now you got to face Alabama. That's going to be quite
safe.
That's going to be quite the shock, I would say. And is it home? Yeah, you're right. But how many times have Alabama been in this situation over the years and just crushed their opponent by double digits? You like to lay 7 here? Seems a little freaky to me, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm not really. What, you got something else?
No, go ahead. I'll push it in. No problem.
No, to me, this is not really a game that I'm really in love with or really even kind of have the best feel for. I'll be honest, I kind of lean. It's a great slide. I'll lean.
Throw is high.
Lean LSU here. Actually, I think LSU more so than any other team that Alabama's faced this year has the athletes and has the playmakers to actually kind of compete with Alabama, similar to how Ole Miss did, because you remember the Ole Miss Alabama game was relatively close there. I just think that I know the opponents haven't been great that they've played, but LSU since Coach O has taken over has really kind of had a shot in the arm, and I think that they've finally been able to let obviously it's offensively, defensively they've always been pretty solid this year and years past. But offensively, they've finally kind of gotten things going, and Fournette will be ready to rock and ready to go. He'll be back healthy. That's obviously a big shot in the arm. Over a touchdown at home, I do. I initially lean to LSU, but you're right. That's why I'm not going to make a play on the game, because in the back of my mind, I say to myself, don't go against Alabama right now because they're just murdering teams.
LSU chirping a lot over the last couple of days. Alabama not saying anything, slowly coming into this game, giving up just 274 yards a game. LSU, we all forget how bad they were offensively. They will be back to that this week. Alabama dominates them. I think Alabama rolls in this game. And I think they continue to show everybody why they're just way better than everybody else. I mean, LSU, again, in the last 3 games, have played Missouri, Southern Mississippi, and Ole Miss. 3 of some of the worst defensive teams you're going to find. And I'm not just overreacting either.
And look, if you like Bama, last 12 played at LSU. Bama's 9-3 against the spread. So
I'd be totally okay laying 9 here. I'd be totally okay with it. Donnie Right Side, what's up, brother? I hope you're doing well. I love LSU here getting over a touchdown because this game's going to be low scoring. So getting over a touchdown here is like getting 12 or 13 points. Yeah, dude, I hear you. But good luck betting under. If you bet under here, don't be surprised if you get backdoor because I just know personally I've had no success betting Alabama unders over the years.
Yeah.
And, LSU's kind of turned it up lately. And look, it was all cute, Orgeron turning it up offensively against some patsies, but now you got to play a real team here. Yeah, and look, I like Orgeron. I've made that clear. I think he should be the next coach there. Again, I mean, they've played no one since he's come in here. I don't think people quite understand how bad Missouri is, right? You that's going to be one of your games.
Yeah,
this
but
week.
LSU, but the way LSU was playing while Les Miles was the coach, I'm not sure they could have beat any of those teams. That's a big hit there.
Yeah,
big hit for Chicago.
Kluber just dissolving here in the fourth inning. All right, we're going to go head-to-head here. Probably means you don't want to play the game. I probably won't play the game.
I'm just not really.
I might get involved, maybe small player or something.
Obviously, Jeff likes the game a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
It's just a very.
I mean, the
small
discrepancy this year for Alabama over some good football teams. I mean, they've crushed. They crushed Texas A&M, who's ranked top 4.
Yep.
They beat USC, albeit USC had that backup quarterback in, but USC's a pretty good football team. Look, I think LSU's in for a rude awakening here. Do we have any Cub fans out there? Not people that bet. Do we have any actual Cub fans? Because tonight could be your night.
I don't know any personally.
If Jason Hayward gets a hit here, it is your night.
Yeah,
for sure.
Not just a hit. If he gets an RBI.
Is he not the most over? Did he get like the worst contract ever? I mean, how could you give him this contract?
Yeah.
But then again, does it really matter if they win?
Oh, it's baseball. They throw around big numbers.
Right.
Yeah, and exactly. It doesn't matter if they win.
Right.
That's...
So the first 2 games, leans for sure, but nothing I'm really too interested in. And look, I'll tell you if a game's on my card. Next one here. Let's move on to 7 o'clock Eastern, Saturday night. Southern Cal laying 17 against Oregon, over-under 78.5 or 79. Where do we start with Oregon, Ryan? I mean, you remember how good they were against the spread over the years?
Sure.
I remember certain books in South Philadelphia, they would inflate Oregon lines. Like, let's say it was 17, they would give you it at 20.
Right.
Because the overlay was just crazy with Oregon. 1-6 this year against the spread. Just really falling on hard times.
It's not a good team
up in Oregon.
Overall, yeah.
You look at over the total, though, this year, 6-2. So, overs have been great plays with Oregon. They're the worst total defense in the country. Actually, they're second worst. I'm sorry. Rice is the worst.
Yeah.
But they're almost the worst. They've given up over 52 points a game over their last 3 games. You look at USC. I mean, this team's been humming offensively. Ever since they made the quarterback change, 3-0, 38 points a game, and over almost 600 yards per game.
Yep.
Sam Darnold, 11 touchdowns, just 1 interception, and he ranks second in the country in QBR. For all you stat guys, QBR, that's total quarterback rating. Second in the country.
Yep.
As a redshirt freshman. I'm not sure what Clay Helton was doing first couple games of the year, but what the hell was he doing? Now you get to face the worst total defense in America. He must be licking his lips for this one.
I played some poor defenses though, as as of late.
But then again, that's the Pac-12.
We like talking about who would have teams played. I mean, they've played the likes of Arizona State, Arizona, and Cal. 3 teams defensively that aren't going to blow you away.
Not going to get harder here though. This is probably the worst of the 3. But you're right. I mean, you want to see him in a test maybe.
Right.
They play Washington in a few weeks. That's going to be a real test
for sure on the road.
I like what USC's done defensively lately also, Ryan. Surprisingly, I was surprised to know that they're 49th in the country in defense. Over the last 4 games, 18.8 points a game they've given up, and they only give up 24 to a Cal team that's better than Oregon.
They only give up 17 points per game at home, too. So
USC playing in revenge here. They were crushed by 20 last year against Vernon Adams in Oregon. I'm going to lay the number here with USC. I think they're a good play. I think Oregon's packed it in. They're not winning anything this year. What's their record, Ryan?
Who's that?
Oregon.
I think they're 2 or they won last week, so they're 3-5 now.
Probably not going bowling. I think that's probably safe.
No,
to
they
say.
need 3 more.
When was the last time they didn't go bowling?
Yeah.
I'd love to know that.
They need 3. They need to win 3 out of 4 between USC, Stanford, Utah, and Oregon State, and 3 of those 4 are on the road. So
it's going to be close, but they're not going to win this game. 78.5 is high, but you got to have your head examined if you're betting Oregon unders. Just it's not a smart bet.
only one USC game this year has gone under, has gone over this year.
You have to think of it like this.
I mean, you got to look at it too. 2 teams, 2 player, and the way that games for USC have gone under so far this year is pretty astounding. The one game that went over, went over by I think 9 points. So
my concern here is it's 48-24. It could gladly stay under. I think the better plays in USC. If you like an over in any way, probably go team total with USC. That's probably the best.
It's kind of a way I was actually.
Because
that's kind of a way that I was actually looking with this game. USC, the way they've been kind of humming offensively and kind of getting I can't say the word, contributions from several different players, running game, passing game, everything, and the way their quarterback has been playing. You would think being at home too also helps. You don't have to go to Alston Stadium against Oregon's defense, who has really, we talk about it, but they've really been bad. This is a team that on the road is giving up 46 points per game, and with those numbers and the way USC's been playing, that's kind of where my head's at in this game. Like the spread, but I think team total over would be a good play as well. Obviously, we don't have that right now, but that I think is definitely something you should keep your eye on.
I think USC puts up 42 to 50 points here. You could put up 50 with your eyes closed against Cal or Oregon, for Christ's sakes. The way Darnold's throwing it. Plus, another thing to point out, Adoree Jackson, Ryan, you've seen him run back kicks.
Yep.
He's unbelievable.
Well, he plays offense as well. He's one of the better athletes in the country. So
Oregon can't cover punts either. I think they're 70th in the country against punt return. So, yeah, it's all about USC for me in this one. I think they win this one, 49-24, something like that. I think they get the cover here. And you only have to lay 17.
Sure.
If you were laying 24, maybe. Yeah. By the way, though, for any over people, Justin Herbert looked great last week. Worst pass defense in America he faced, but Oregon's right there. Yeah. So I'll go USC in this one. You would lean that way as well, Ryan, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Next one. Let's move on. Clemson, Ryan, hosting the Syracuse Orangemen. Orangemen off a bye. Clemson laying 27. Over under 66. Last week you said Arizona State was a good play versus Oregon. You always fade Oregon. Did I say it? I don't think I said that. Did we say that?
Not sure.
Ryan, where did you hear that? I don't think I said that. I think I said Cal was a good play against Oregon. Do I always fade Oregon? I don't know if I always fade Oregon, but I fade them this year. They suck.
And they haven't been good ATS,
Yeah, right. 1-6 against the spread. Clemson laying 27 against Syracuse over under 66. Yeah, I don't trust Oregon. I wouldn't put my worst enemy's money in the hands of Oregon. Just wouldn't. How can you? Have you watched them play defense, Ryan? Ryan, this total, talk about a move, 8-point move, open 58. It's been bet up to 66.
Yeah.
How about that? People loving the over, and I was actually really surprised that they hung 58 out there. I thought that was really conservative in this game. Both these teams particularly love to move the ball. They score points. Syracuse, interesting, Ryan, covered 3 of 4 against Clemson, and they're 4-0 over the last 4 as a dog of 21.5 to 31 points. So these numbers they're covering, they're getting in these numbers, and Clemson, they failed to cover in 7 of 8 in November. Not good that the clock has moved to November. It's not good for Clemson, guys. Syracuse, we know, love to throw the ball around. Eric Dungy, we've watched them before, Ryan. Love to throw the ball around. Averaging almost 8 yards per pass attempt. Clemson, maybe has a little bit of a letdown after last week's game, after that hard-fought victory against Florida State. Now you got to go on the road or go back to home and play little old Syracuse. Probably not going to be too excited. Clemson has been vulnerable, Ryan, as well against good pass offenses. 295 they give up against Louisville, 269 against NC State, 286 against Florida State. I think Syracuse will be able to move the ball here. It's just hard to trust them defensively. I mean, Syracuse has given up a lot of points this year. But, with the total moving the way it is, I'm just not interested anymore with the over. I'm going to go with Syracuse here. I'm going to think that they can hang around. How can you lay this kind of number of Clemson right now?
Yeah, I would go Syracuse as well too. The line movement, obviously, for the total is a little weary. I would still lean to the over though. I really would, because I think Syracuse will definitely be able to score the ball. You look at, you kind of touched on what Louisville was able to do offensively, scoring 36 points. What Florida State was able to do, scoring 37. NC State, for that matter. Let's not forget that's a game they probably should have lost. They were able to have success through the air, and the one thing, though, about these teams, Louisville does. Florida State, not so much. But this will probably be the fastest offenses this team has had to face all year. And after a big win last week, and another game, they just get really just fortuitous breaks in that game. I mean, Florida State's up 11, and Dalvin Cook rips off a big run down into Clemson territory. And, of course, it gets called back by a really kind of shady flag. And that would have, at least put them in field goal range and kind of go up 14 there at least. But it is what it is. They did win the game. But, you really just have to wonder if eventually their luck's going to run out. I'm not saying they're going to lose this game. They're obviously sitting pretty for the rest of the year with their remaining 4 games, all winnable, all going to be probably sizable favorites in that game. But
they've showed several times this year that it doesn't matter. I mean, struggle with Troy, struggle with NC State.
I ultimately don't think they will lose any of these games, and I don't ultimately think they will lose to Syracuse by any stretch of the imagination. But I think 26 points is a pretty sizable number there for a team that in Syracuse that likes to spread you out, that likes to get the ball out quick and let their playmakers make plays in space. And a team like Syracuse is a perfect team to hit a back door as well. Let's not forget that this is a team that can score quickly. So if they're down, if they're only down 31 points, somewhere around there, 34 points, with 2-3 minutes to go, a touchdown's not impossible, because the way that team can score and put up points, that back door is always there for a team like that.
And if look, Clemson doesn't need style points. I mean, they don't need to win by 40 points.
Well,
I mean, they don't.
You bring up a good point, Jeff. If you watch the college football playoff show last night, the committee, they had a guy on there from the committee talk and says that style points, they don't take style points into effect at all, actually.
Particularly at this school. I mean, they don't need style points.
I mean at all. I mean, so style points, we can throw that out the window, which kind of sucks, because that's something that we've kind of talked about, saying this team needs to kind of hammer a team, because they don't take. He flat out said style points or winning. The term he used was winning margin. They don't take winning margin into account.
I think, though, for a team like a Western Michigan, I think it means a lot. If they can just keep beating teams bad, whatever, though. Either way, I don't think Clemson needs to run up the score on Syracuse. I don't. And I don't think they can. I think Syracuse is really dynamic offensively. And they're a team like a Mike Leach coach team or someone like that. They're not going to just, because they're down 35, they're not going to just throw in the towel. They're going to keep scoring.
Exactly.
They're going to keep and they've played very well lately. And again, Clemson has been vulnerable with the pass lately. I mean, they have not played particularly. They've turned the ball over at an alarming rate lately as well. And this could be a 51. 21 type of game. But, look, for me, I'm going to side with the points here. This is merely a play for me off of fading a team right now that I don't think they should be laying this type of number.
Yeah.
Look, against Boston College, I think Syracuse, they should lay this type of number. But against a dynamic offense like Syracuse, I'm gonna grab the points here. I think it's the better play. If you can get this above 28, which I think a lot of public will come in late on Clemson probably here, that's key.
It'll be interesting to see, too, how Clemson handles things late in this game, whether Dabo pulls some guys if they're up by a decent number. Because if you look at a couple of the games Syracuse has played, obviously had the big win against Virginia Tech, but they're two quote-unquote step-up games. Against Louisville, they gave up 62 points, and against Notre Dame, they gave up 50 points. So you wonder if...
I know you like to use this one, Ryan. That was early in the year, though. Ever since Virginia Tech, Syracuse has played a lot better.
I hear you. I hear you.
But you might be onto something here. I don't know.
Hopefully that continues, and it's going to need to, because we all know how Clemson can score points.
Right. Maybe choose first half and hope Clemson comes out slow since playing Florida State. I'm not a big half player. I'm just going to grab the game here at, 26.5, 27. Quickly, NC State outright as a dog to Florida State. All right. Good luck with that. I would go the other way. But I don't like playing with fire, and that would be playing with fire if you ask me. All they have to do is outscore Syracuse a touchdown per quarter. You really think Syracuse can hang in on the road? Well, you know what, Ryan? Luckily, we're not psychics. We can't predict everything. It's merely off hard work and studying. I think they can. 7 points. Yeah. Ryan, if it was that easy, I think we'd all do it and be good at it. I think they can. But I could be very wrong.
Yep.
Next one. I'm going to jump into a play of the day, Ryan. Actually, let's jump into play of the days here. We got 4 to do, and then we'll kind of wrap up rapid fire, do 5 or 6 quick ones. And they'll be random, Ryan.
Okay.
I'm going to go with my first game, Ryan. I'm going to take Iowa +8 on the road at Penn State. I think this is a little bit inflated, this line. I think Penn State, people fall in love with that's a home run, 4-1. How about that?
Javier Baez.
Can we get a live shot of Chicago right now?
Seriously, man. That place is going to come down tonight. Looks that way anyway.
I should have went out.
Crazy.
It'd be cool to go out there.
Yeah.
Party it up. How many gunshots are going to be shot in Chicago tonight?
Well, the north side is the darker area, and obviously the Chicago's on the south side, or
the south
side's
side's
the dark area. Chicago's on the north side. So
sure.
If this was the White Sox, maybe.
But I'm going to go with Iowa +8 as my first best bet. This line opened 6.5. Penn State's been bet all the way up to 8. I saw 8.5 earlier this week. I think that's too many points to give Iowa. Now, I know a lot of people will point and say Iowa, well, Iowa's been very mediocre this year, lackluster. You would be right. Look, they haven't played well, but they're bowl eligible here with a win, and I think Kirk Ferentz's team this year, that's a winnable thing right now. They want to get to a bowl, kind of right the ship this year and move on to next year. They're off a bye in this game. They're rejuvenated. Ryan, they've covered 10 of 13 on the road, Iowa. Covered 2 of 3 this year. They are no strangers to the road, and we talked about it with Clemson. Penn State is a totally different team in November. They have failed to cover 6 of 7 in the 11th month. Iowa been very good on the defensive end, giving up 18.9 points per game. They've been very stout against the run. One thing that Penn State does well is run the football. Ryan, take a guess how many touchdowns Iowa's giving up, rushing touchdowns this year. Pretty unbelievable. 6.
Yeah.
This year. That's pretty impressive.
Solid, yeah. Solid number.
They bend but do not break. They're tough. They're physical. They're off a bye. They're rejuvenated. People forgot about them. It's been Penn State. That's all you've heard this week. How James Franklin's, Bear Bryant all of a sudden. Joe Paterno reincarnated is James Franklin. I'm not in love with the fact that you beat Ohio State. That was a great win and all, but Purdue? Who the hell cares about Purdue? This is an overreaction and too many points. Would not be surprised to see Iowa win this game. I think they kind of turn it up defensively, make this ugly. I think they get out of Happy Valley with a win, but I'll take the 8 points.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough environment up there. They're going to have another whiteout up there in Happy Valley. It's a night game, 7:30 start. Obviously, that place will be rocking. Whiteouts in Happy Valley, for whatever reason, are trouble a lot of times for opposing teams. And I was texting a buddy of mine today, and he sent me a text saying, or was he? It might have been yesterday, saying, or no, it was early this morning, saying like Penn State number 12. Holy hell! Like, you think they overreact a little bit? And yeah, like they beat Ohio State, and everyone just kind of loses their minds. And I personally don't get it. I really don't. I mean, that's a great win. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, their body of work, in my opinion, isn't all that impressive. The one thing though that I will say in Penn State's favor that jumps out to me is ever since that Michigan game where Michigan hung up 49 points on them, they've been pretty good defensively. Kind of maybe turned a corner somehow. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because the health. Maybe they got a little healthier. Got some guys back. They've been pretty good defensively as of late. Iowa's so catch-22, man. I mean, I like Big Ten football. I think it's the best conference right now, personally. Iowa's just so up in the air. Like, one week they'll play a tough game like they did against Wisconsin, almost beat them if it wasn't for some mistakes, and then the next week they'll just get shit on by Minnesota or Northwestern or whoever. Initially, I kind of want to lean over here, but I'll side with Iowa. But it's not. And I like Big Ten, and I usually have a good read on it. This game's weird to me. This game's weird because I could see Iowa going in there, really competing, even winning. But then I got a weird feeling I could see Penn State kind of pulling away, just because it's a weird number. People say, let's put this number at 7.5, 8, and have everyone grab Iowa. And
destruction making Penn State number 12 in the country. That is going to really hurt this team. I think going forward, they're reading their own headlines. I don't like them defensively. They have a lot of injuries on that side of the ball. I got to be honest. I can't believe they beat Ohio State. Watching them early on this year, they were dreadful.
Very bad.
Penn State. I can't believe, like against Pittsburgh and against Michigan, they just could not get a stop.
Yep.
I think Iowa surprises here. People have totally forgotten about Iowa, Ryan. Listen, I'm not going to say it's going to happen because it probably won't. But they're not totally dead yet.
Who?
In the Big Ten.
Who?
Iowa. Look at their schedule. They're one game back. Wisconsin would have to, really shit themselves. But again, I mean, I think there's definitely a lot to play for. Iowa bowl eligible with a win. I'm not sold on Penn State. Are you sold on Penn State, Ryan? Really?
Sold on Penn State? Absolutely not.
So how do you not take Iowa here?
No, because I'm not sold on
Iowa. Especially in this
spot.
I don't
like Iowa either. But no,
you know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you. I know.
So I'll go Iowa +8 as my first best bet. Ryan,
banking on a letdown. For Penn State after,
and I'm banking on a rejuvenation here from Iowa.
Right.
They're well coached. Who would you rather have as a coach, Kirk Ferentz or Jim Franklin or whatever his name is?
Yeah,
Jimmy.
I'm not a big James Franklin fan at all. So.
Ryan, Missouri and South Carolina. Weird
Yes.
game. Interesting game. What do you like here?
Yeah, Missouri going to South Carolina here. Missouri is having a season to forget. They're 2-6. South Carolina 4-4.
Real question is, what's the over/under on Barry Odom leaving Missouri?
Yeah, first year.
Dreadful first year.
Yeah, but 1 year doesn't make you, and 1 year doesn't break you. I think he'll have he'll have another opportunity, kind of right the ship there. I'm actually going to look at the total here. Over/under sitting at 56. I like the under in this game. Best gambler, you say you like that as well.
Great minds think alike.
That's the direction I'm at in this game. Missouri, this number is astounding to me. On the road, Missouri averages 10 points per game. Now, Jeff mentioned it earlier in the show. Defensively, they're not very good. They've given up, I think, 500 yards or more in 4 straight games. They're giving up 30 points per game this year.
168 points they've given.
However, South Carolina isn't anything really special offensively. They've been better in the last couple games, but as a whole, they haven't been really that good at all. They're only scoring 17 points per game. To me, though, I like the fact that USC, South Carolina, plays good defense. They're only allowing 21 points per game. They've been a sneaky good defensive team all year, and I've kind of paid attention to them the last couple weeks. Haven't gotten involved with them. Wish I had, but I've kind of noticed that over the last couple weeks that they've played good defense throughout the entire season. As far as this game, though, like I said, Missouri's really struggled on offense. In 3 of their last 4, they've scored 21, 14, and 7 points. Under is 7-1 in Missouri's last 8 road games. Flip the script to South Carolina. 5 of 7 have gone under this year for that team. In the last 8 conference games for them, 7-1 to the under as well. And following a straight up win. They're 7-1 to the under. So a lot of trends point to the under. The eye test to me points to the under. Like I said, you mentioned to me, man, Missouri's bad defensively. This we were talking before the show. Missouri's bad defensively, and I said, yeah, but I don't think South Carolina is going to score, 40 points and really kind of just make this a one-sided kind of shit show to where you're like, well, the under's definitely screwed here. I think Missouri scores somewhere within 13, 14, 17 points. South Carolina puts up 28, somewhere in that range. I think Missouri plays better defensively. I think the game stays under, though. I think 56 is a little too high.
4 or 5 between these two teams under, Ryan.
Yep.
Last 2 years, both under. Problem for me, last 4 games for Missouri, they've been outscored 168 to 87. Their 2 wins this year have come against Eastern Michigan and the Hornets of Delaware State.
Yep.
South Carolina's going to be pretty motivated to win in this one, but
let's not forget either. I had under in Missouri LSU earlier in the year as a play of the day. Came through as well.
Yeah, that would be the way I would go. You're totally right. I mean, Missouri, 10.7 points a game, for Christ's sakes, on the road. Just dreadful. Good play, Ryan. I think 56 a good number as well. Kind of high, you feel like, no? I mean,
I think
I was thinking maybe 49.
I think it's high for sure.
Getting a nice number here. So, good call. Under 56, Missouri and South Carolina. Maryland, Michigan might hit 50 versus Maryland. Going to look at that total. Yeah, another patsy for Michigan. And, Maryland, I mean, ever since they lost Will Likely, their cornerback.
You love just throwing that out there that
Total
Michigan
mess.
hasn't played anyone, huh?
Yeah, let's
you
not
try
have
to say that
conversation,
every time we're on the air.
Michigan fans had a real clover in their back pocket when they were. Penn State was ranked 12th.
Well, and Colorado was ranked
that?
15th, and Wisconsin's ranked 8th. So
3 horrible offensive football.
It doesn't
teams.
matter.
Let's not have this conversation.
I know, but
again.
it gets kind of tired. That's all.
Ryan, we get it. You like Michigan. We're totally aware of it.
I'm just saying it's tired.
Move on. It's not tired.
Because you always throw
it's
it out
true.
there. You always throw. It's not true.
Okay. Well, I don't think they played anyone.
Okay.
Just like I don't think a lot of teams have played anyone. We'll see what happens. 372,229.
Those are commas. Those are games.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, that's like 372 million. 372, 229, Yeah. Well, Devion Smith should have a big day, you would think.
Chris Evans, actually leading rusher on that team, he should have a big. They all should have a big day. Elephants should have a big day.
Ryan, 5 o'clock, I'm attacking the Sun Belt. Ryan Britt, I had a feeling you were Chris Barr. I had a feeling. Have a nice
You think everyone's Chris Barr? Maybe it's not. Maybe
no, it's him. 100%. Random people don't just find this show.
I think he was on last week, actually.
No, he wasn't. I know that name. This show is like an eclectic indie performance. You hear about it from your friends. It's like an underground thing, and people listen to it. You don't just find it.
I wish it wasn't that way. I wish it was bigger than that.
Well, I'm actually liking it now, how it is. We have our eclectic group of fans. Some stay in the shadows and some don't, and we have our fun. Ron, I'm attacking the Sun Belt, and I'm going to pound on UL Monroe. I'm going to go with South Alabama, minus 13, as my other best bet of the week against UL Monroe. Ron, UL Monroe, 2-6 on the year. South Alabama at 4-4. South Alabama with wins over Mississippi State and San Diego State. Yep. 2 impressive wins. You talk about, Ryan, a mess. UL Monroe has been an absolute dumpster fire since Garrick Smith went out, their quarterback. They've just been hideous. Last 2 games, 59-17 they lost to New Mexico. 51-10 they lost to Arkansas State.
They've actually given up 50 points or more four times this year.
Great call. They're one of the worst defenses in the country. 42 points a game. They're 126th out of 128 defensively. And as a dog of 10.5 to 21 points this year, 0-2, and they're 1-6 the last 7. They're 4-9 in 13 home games. I mean, South Alabama's growing. They're pretty balanced offensively. Dallas Davis has been a pretty good quarterback. I like what I've seen from him. They're kind of playing well. Good caliber tight end and Gerald Everett. And defensively, they've improved. They're going to go bowling this year at 4-4. They have several very winnable games. This is one of them. I'm going to keep piling on UL Monroe because the one saving grace for UL Monroe was the fact that they had a quarterback this year. They don't anymore. Their one win this year lately, or the one win lately, has been against Texas State. And we all know how bad they are defensively. I actually had the over in that game. I like South Alabama under 2 touchdowns here, only having to lay 13. I think they win this one by 20.
So this is your second best bet? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of the direction I would lean. Just more so picking on Louisiana Monroe, and they're playing a team that we've seen a couple times this year. Obviously, week 1 against Mississippi State, and then against San Diego State. They came to play in both of those games, and looked impressive, and kind of made their name known. And here against UL Monroe team that just is in a world of hurting right now. I mean, they can't stop anyone. I mean, they gave up 51 points to an Arkansas State team that has just kind of been rebuilding all year and just hasn't really, done what maybe some people thought they were going to do this year. And for me, it's just more. I like the play, for sure. Under 4 touchdowns, I think that's an interesting line. I think it's an interesting number. And I think UL Monroe really should just continue to struggle here. I know it's at home, but whoop-de-freaking do. South Alabama should, be able to kind of handle things. And you might look at their schedule the last couple games and say, well, they only scored 7, 21, and 13 over the last 3 weeks. But, this defense really is kind of like a breath of fresh air for some teams that, go in there and face this team and just say, wow, I can't, offense is this easy against a team like this? So that's kind of what I would expect. And it's a nice number too, especially against a team like this without a good defense. You should be able to open up a lead pretty quickly.
It's a game that not many people focus on, not really a game that is going to, no one's going to lay this kind of number. But I think you'll probably see sharps laying this number because UL Monroe is just in a bad way right now. So, I think it's a kind of a hidden play, but I like it. Ryan, your other play, what is it today?
Yeah, last best bet of the day for myself and for both of us, that is. I'm going to go to the SEC, not a conference I really get involved with really much at all, but I just think this is a good situation. I think it's a good number. I think the wrong team here is favored, and I'm going to take the dog here. I'm looking at Georgia at 4-4 going to Kentucky, who is 5-3.
Do you think Ryan Brick's real now?
Kentucky, I'd probably not, but yeah. Kentucky, +2 at home against Georgia. Like the Wildcats here, really like Kentucky. They go bowling with a win today.
How about that? How about Mark Stoops?
That's what I'm saying.
He was on his way out. They had gotten crushed.
Right.
And now look at him.
Yeah, I like Kentucky here. This team, and I wonder why they're the underdog here. I think it's just for the fact that Georgia is Georgia, and Kirby Smart in his first year is really kind of going through some growing pains. They're 3-5 ATS this year, 2-3 on the road, and 2-4 in the SEC to the number. Only scoring 23 points per game. They're giving up more points than they score. Not a recipe for success. Not something you would expect from Kirby Smart, who's a defensive-minded coach, and they're giving up more points than they're scoring this year. They've lost 4 or 5. They're not playing good football this year. Run game is non-existent. They have 10 turnovers so far this season. They're lacking playmakers on offense. Jacob Eason will be a good quarterback, but just nothing going right now. And like I said, the defense hasn't been as expected so far this year. As far as Kentucky goes, man, this team's playing great football right now. Probably some of the better football in the country, actually. And it's just kind of gone unnoticed. They've won 3 in a row. They've won 5 of 6. And they've covered 5 in a row, which is more important, which is what we're talking about on the show, which is why we have this show. Like I said, why are they a dog? I just don't get it. It makes me scratch my head. They're scoring 35 points per game at home. Let's not forget, too, the point in the season where I kind of thought, maybe Kentucky has something here is trending upward. They hung tough with Alabama on the road. They're only down 17-3 at the half against Alabama. They're the better team right now. The run game is just killing. What the run game did last week with Snell and Boom Williams running collectively for 374 yards and 3 touchdowns, that's pretty eye-opening to me. I like Kentucky here as a home dog. I'll take Kentucky plus the 2. Wish we could have got 3. Line moved a little bit, but I like Kentucky here. Georgia just doesn't do anything for me at all.
Not a Georgia Bulldog fan, huh?
No. Well,
Run game's about all that worries you there.
And I saw a lot of trends that pointed in the favor of Georgia, but here's the thing: this is a completely different Georgia team, completely different coaching staff, freshman quarterback.
Right.
Nick Chubb has just been in and out of the lineup this year. It's just a completely different team. So, just like last year with Michigan, people are saying, "Oh, this team hasn't been good as a road dog the last 4 years." Well, it's a completely different team.
Right. Completely
different coaching staff, everything. So you have to pay attention to that as well. Those kind of stats hold true to teams like Bama and certain teams like that have been who they are for the last handful of years. So I don't really look at those stats for Georgia. So
Ryan, I need 20 points or less in 4 minutes in this Knicks game. Ryan, I thought I had such a great side in this game.
I don't know if that's
with the under.
I
was fading the public.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for a miracle.
Maybe you'll get lucky.
The fucking Rockets just don't miss. It's crazy.
20 points or less.
Yeah.
In 4 minutes.
Yeah. Combined.
Yeah,
It's gonna be tough.
That's gonna be tough.
You never know. The Knicks only have 8 points in the quarter. So.
Yeah. You never know.
Maybe
they'll help you out. Yeah.
The line was 213.
I always root you out.
Line was 213. It got bet all the way up to 218.5. Back to backs. James Harden's still in the game. They're up 30. I'm not sure why, but
they're up 30.
Well, it's 112-86, which is like
damn.
What's that? That's 20.
Wow.
That's like 25.
Still, they're up 25 points. That's great.
Why is he still in the game? But Georgia loses to Vandy in Kentucky this year. Kirby Smart is gone. LOL. Yeah, that's a tough. It's tough to go in there and succeed. They have a tough quarterback situation, and we'll see.
Yep.
But good stuff here. It feels like Georgia's packing it in. That Vanderbilt game is embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, look, Georgia's that same team every year lately.
Yeah.
Kind of decent defensively, but just can't score.
I thought it was going to be electric, too. That's a night game down there in Kentucky.
That's a great point. Plus, they go bowling. They're playing well.
That's going to be a fired-up environment.
And that's why I like some of our games this week. We're going with teams that are playing well against teams that are kind of going the opposite direction.
Yep.
Our 4 best bets. Mine, I'm on South Alabama, -13 against UL Monroe, and I'm on Penn State +8 against Iowa. Or Iowa +8 against Penn State, sorry. And you are on under 56 Missouri and Kentucky +2.
Yep.
So you're involved with 2 SEC games.
I am, I couldn't tell you last time I did that.
Ryan, let's rapid fire. Actually, you know what we'll do? We'll do a couple of these games coming up tomorrow and Friday. If you're interested, Maction Ryan, 27-10, Toledo. Toledo playing very good defensively. How about that? Didn't they had it in them?
What's the score in that game?
27-10.
Yeah.
So they're covering and doing well. Tomorrow, get a couple games. Another Maction game, Ryan. Ohio laying 19.5 against Buffalo, over/under 51.5. Buffalo, one of the worst teams in the country. However, off a nice, easy win against Akron.
Yep.
Ohio, kind of controlling their own destiny right now. 6-3. They just beat Toledo, which was a big win. They clearly will win this game. By how much is a good question. They do have a rivalry game next week against Central Michigan, which is going to be a big game in this conference. However, it would be a higher or nothing for me here. I can't back Buffalo.
Not backing a team that lost to Albany, that lost to Nevada, can't do it. I would side with Ohio or nothing.
The Albany loss was very head-scratching.
No, it's very head-scratching.
But it's a higher or nothing for me. They should win this game fairly easily. Oklahoma at Iowa State, kind of a weird Thursday night game. Oklahoma laying 20.5, over/under 72. No Mixon or P-Rod. Mixon involved with a parking attendant. Got in a fight with him.
Yeah.
Kind of an odd thing. I do hate parking people, though, so I will point that out.
Yeah.
I hate the parking authority, so I can't say I don't. I don't not understand where he's coming from here, but I don't know. Oklahoma, I took Kansas last week. Bad play on my part. Oklahoma kind of just didn't really rest anyone, kind of rolled, but I don't know. Iowa State, look, I like what Campbell's doing there. I think in a year or two they'll be a decent team, but I don't know. I don't have much of a read on this game.
Iowa State seems to, always
bother you.
Always fuck a team once a year. They haven't done that this year. Their only win is against San Jose State. Almost upset Baylor, if you remember correctly. So maybe that was their one game that they, could have pestered a team. They got lucky as all hell last week too to sneak through the back door. I think Oklahoma's going to roll tomorrow.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I would probably, if you held a gun to my head and say pick it or I'll blow your head off, I would probably do the same. But I don't really think that atmosphere is quite. It's not like you're going to go to Iowa State and you're just concerned about playing.
I will never forget where I was when Iowa State beat Oklahoma State that Saturday night,
couple years ago.
I think it was 5 years ago. Oklahoma State was like the number 2 team in the country with Brandon
Whedon. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
Des Bryant, I believe,
sure.
was still on that team.
Sure.
They
ended up going.
That was crazy.
I don't think they went. I think they went to the Rose Bowl. They didn't go that year, but around that time.
No.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, Mixon ripped the ticket up in front of the parking lot. What's wrong with that? I've done that before. Fuck the parking.
So he got in trouble with that?
Yeah, he got suspended.
Wow.
I guess Bob.
Oh, that's right. He did get suspended. He's been suspended.
No, he just got suspended this week.
Oh, I thought it was.
Piron's been out.
Piron's been out.
Yeah.
He just got suspended.
So they're not going to have much of a run game. Maybe you look over.
I'm surprised
I
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that. Wow.
I could see that being a wild one. Like
So
50.
So what?
I could see that like 51-30 or something.
Yep.
I could see that one going over. Arkansas State, Georgia State, no opinion. Georgia State's bad, but I'm not willing to really look to bet Arkansas State. Colorado, UCLA. UCLA is wow. I mean, my God, what a shit year it's been for them.
Some people thought this team was actually going to go to the national championship game, have a chance to get to the playoffs.
I heard that last year.
I personally didn't see it at all this year, and obviously injuries have taken a toll on them. But had they not even had injuries, this is not a playoff team, and they've really just kind of. I mean, they're 3-5.
Right.
At what point do you look at Jim Moore and say,
"Yeah, he's not good enough"?
Right.
Agreed. I agree 100%, Ryan. As far as this game's concerned, I like Colorado here. Off a bye, I think maybe the under's worth a look as well. Colorado's been very good defensively. UCLA, you have to think they'll struggle to score in this one. 58.5 looks a little high.
Yeah.
This game, look, I don't think it's going to be as 10-5 like Stanford, but I think this one's like, I don't know, 34-17 maybe.
Okay.
I could see this one staying under 58.5. I would agree, though. I think that Jim Mora, I think they need to take a look in the mirror out there.
I'm just not.
They did get a raw deal. I mean, they did lose a lot, too, and I think I didn't really get why the love affair was with UCLA this year. I mean, they lost Paul Perkins, lost a lot at the receiver position, and Josh Rosen, look, I mean, kind of a head case. Did get injured, though, which sucks. But
I think Colorado's the side. Colorado,
Cubs going for the jugular here, putting John Lester. They're not taking any fucking chances.
Good. I don't blame them.
Good for them.
That's what you should do. It's the last game of the season. I mean,
Yeah.
You put who gives you the best chance to win.
I would put every starter I had in from this inning on.
I would get Lester to like the 8th.
Chapman in the 9th.
Yeah, and get the Chapman.
Yeah.
Get the Chapman. So I mean, Madden's coaching this game like he should.
Yeah.
I mean, people were breaking his balls for putting in Chapman last game.
And
why?
Francona's screwed because now he put in Miller already. I guess maybe go to Salazar at some point. Yeah. I don't know. But, UCLA's in trouble.
Colorado, like I was saying, the last 3 games they've been better defensively, and especially against pretty solid offenses. Well, USC, for one, they held to 21 points, and Arizona State, they held to 16 points. I won't talk about Stanford because we know about Stanford offensively. So
Friday night, Ryan, Central Michigan visiting Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio, Ryan, you took last week. Good call.
I did.
You took them as a personal play.
Yep.
You told me get on Miami of Ohio, and I did, and it was a great call by you. This is an interesting one because I think Cooper Rush is the second best quarterback in this division, and Zach Terra obviously probably the best. But Cooper Rush could be the best. I mean, the kid's really talented. I'm just if Billy Bowl plays, that's the big thing. I'm not a Gus Ragland guy. I'm not in love with Miami of Ohio. They're good defensively though, and that's what you want to hang your hat on. Bated breath. I'll take a shot with Central Michigan here. It just looks like they win this game by 10, but I'm not in love with it.
Central Michigan is, they kind of let me down this year. I thought this was going to be a team that
better
was going to be
team,
a little better in this conference, and especially with Cooper Rush and some of their key guys coming back this year. And I kind of expected them to put up a better fight, and they have.
Ryan, how sick is this? Technical foul, 29 seconds left. They call it a technical. So we may lose this game on a fucking technical foul.
Wow, that's
how sick is that?
That's a shame. That's a shame. That really is a shame. But yeah, I guess I would slightly lean to Central Michigan, but I mean, I don't know. Tough game. Whoa, errant throw there.
We cash, Ryan.
Did it hit for you?
How about that?
What did it end?
118.99.
What is the total?
217. I had 218.5.
Guess what, buddy? I tailed with you,
Did
brother.
you really?
I did, sir.
My man.
I tailed with you. I tailed, you son of a bitch. Hey, we call that a
cover. How about that, Ryan?
Are you sure it's a final?
Yeah, it's a final. 118.99. And they made a 3 at the buzzer.
That's 117.
Yeah. I want to see final. It's 217.
That's what I meant, 217.
Right.
So I hope that's not... Well...
I think we got a winner here.
No,
they did. They had 96.
Do we premature ejaculate?
It's over.
118.96.
Whatever.
What does that say?
118. What's the fucking final in this goddamn game?
Best Gambler, help us out.
Yeah,
man.
what's the goddamn final here?
Best Gambler, help us out.
How about that, Ryan? I fade the public once again in the NBA, and it works wonders.
We're trying to do a show, and we're trying to get this score up.
What's the goddamn final in this game?
118.99.
That's a cover. It's 217.
That's a final. 118.99.
How about that?
Thanks, Best
How
Gambler.
about that? What's up, dude?
Nice.
And Toronto hit cash money
after they had 119 points in the first half.
Dude, they would have. That's what I was saying. Like, they couldn't miss. It was 68-51.
And that's why in games like that, where, I mean, they were shooting in the first half. I think Houston was shooting like 53%, and Knicks was shooting like 44%. So I mean, you knew those totals were going to come down. They're not going to shoot that high percentage all game. So that's a good cover. That's a good cover. Good call by Jeff. I tailed him with that. So
that's crazy. It's like in that game, and real quick on the NBA front, I urge people follow line movement in the NBA. It's key. It's really key. I mean, you look at 5-3.
5-3. Cleveland trying to make a little rally here. A 2-out rally.
Okay.
And if you had the under, sorry to say, that's dead.
That's an L. But what I was saying, for instance, in this game, it was 213 at open, went all the way up to 218 and a half.
Yep.
Back to back for both teams. Knicks are one of the worst offensive teams in the league. Last 8 games with a total of over 210 for the Knicks, all 8 have gone under. It was just, you got to look at line movement. You got to. You just got to. So, if you're betting NBA off of like stats and trends, you're not going to win. You can't. You got to look at line movement. That's all that matters. But Ryan,
that's a great play. I'll tell you what, that is a fantastic play by Jason Kipnis. I saw a picture on Twitter of his ankle before the World Series. It was the size of a softball, and it was like blue and purple, and he basically tweeted out, "There's no way I'm missing the World Series. This is why I play the game," and he's been really gritting it out the whole series. And for him to score from second on a wild pitch, that's the stuff that sports is made of right there, and bringing his team to within 2. Awesome play by Jason Kipnis right there.
Yeah, he's a gamer.
I mean, you've rolled your ankle before. I mean, you know how much that hurts. I mean, his ankle was huge, man. I mean, props to him. So
yeah, but back to college. A couple more here, Ryan. So Central Michigan, Ohio, I have no opinion. None of these games, as far as tomorrow or Friday, I have much interest in.
Neither do I.
Maybe teaser with one of these two, but nothing so far. The other ones, you got Temple -10 against UConn. Temple plays Friday night like every week, I feel like.
Did you hear the Big Ten's going to start doing Friday night games next year?
No, but I don't like that.
Some teams will be involved in Friday night games.
Stay Saturday.
And it seems that...
Look at what that's done to the NFL.
I think what's going to be, though, it's going to be some of the lower echelon teams.
Yeah, best gambler. We'll get to that. Just bear with us. I hear you, though. Maryland.
Interesting, though. It's interesting.
Temple -10 at UConn. Temple's a very backable team at home, but on the road, I'm not as in love with them. That could be an ugly game there.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know. That could be 17-10 or something. Very low scoring.
Yeah, I'm not... the as far as the Thursday and the Friday games,
I think Temple to teaser wouldn't be a bad play, -4.
yeah, I'm not high on.
One game I would probably look at, you'd have to think Boise bounces back against San Jose State. San Jose State's a mess. That could be similar to like that New Mexico game a couple weeks ago.
I hate Boise, dude.
We backed them in that game though against New Mexico. It was a blowout.
Yeah,
San Jose's bad.
I know.
Boise off a loss.
And it's at home.
At home.
Yeah.
Friday night looks like a pretty good play. Washington and Cal, best Gavin wants to talk about.
Yeah, he wants that.
He's under 78. Yeah, I would look at that game similar to last week with USC.
I think that's
USC is a much better.
I was going to say, I think that's a good find, actually, as far as under 77.
Well, I like team total for Washington, or team total over for Washington, but Cal under. Get a replay, Houston. Sam Decker fell on a fast break and didn't score.
I saw that on Twitter.
And that's why I say it under?
No, that's not why.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. I'm pretty sure that was earlier in the first half.
Well, either way, it would have went over.
Yeah.
You need luck like that.
Exactly.
And listen, I'm telling you, when you fade the public, good things happen.
Right.
Because the NBA is a corrupt fucking.
But that's what I'm saying is going back to this game, Jeff. Washington's defense has been, pretty good for the entire season, and even in their step up game last week was solid. And Cal,
listen, Cal can't stop anyone.
They can't stop.
I mean,
so how many points do you peg here for Washington?
Well, I would say, I don't know. I think it's like a 45-24 type of game.
45-24.
Yeah. That's what I would say. Because, look, Cal is really one-dimensional. If Davis Webb's not moving the ball around and throwing it around, you saw what happened last week.
Going to be interesting to see what kind of Washington, how Washington comes out as far after being dropped 5th in the rankings. That'll be interesting.
USC gave up 24 to Cal, and Washington's better defensively than USC is.
I'm trying to look at as far as over-unders for these teams this year quickly.
And we saw what they did to Oregon. They scored 70.
Cal 6-2 to the over, and Washington 7-1 to the over. So these are over teams, but that's a higher. I don't know. I don't know. That's an interesting one. Look, guys. I've never been, even when I started getting into betting, I've never been a big total guy. I like to stick to spreads. I seem to have more success that way. Never been a big total guy. The only time I bet totals really is if I'm tailing someone. I know I gave one out tonight, and I did give one out earlier in the year that I remember.
Well, you played the Rocket game tonight.
LSU game, right, but I tailed you.
Right.
But very rarely am I going to single out a total. I really have to like it, and it really has to jump out to me. But best gambler, you might be onto something there. Washington might be able to kind of stifle Cal offensively. So,
yeah, I mean, it would definitely be probably the way I would go.
But it worries me because Washington is a good offensive team, and Cal is so poor defensively that if Washington scores into the 50s, you got to think that Cal would at least be able to score in the 20s.
I'm interested.
That's the only thing that worries
I'm interested in Washington team total over here.
Yeah.
That's where I'm interested.
Yeah.
One other one, Ryan. Washington State laying 17 to Arizona. Is that too many? Washington State has been covering this year. They've been winning big games and not covering.
Look, Arizona's bad. They're a bad team. Rich Rod. They're in a world of hurting down there for whatever reason. I think it's a kind of a culmination of a lot of things. But is that? I'm trying to find the game. Is that a home game or a road? That's a road game for Washington. No, it's a home game at Pullman. So I think I'd lay that actually. I think I'd lay the 17. Why? I mean, Arizona's 2-6. 2-6. They're bad, man. They're bad.
And they have no idea what they're doing at quarterback. They allowed Stanford to look pretty good offensively all of a sudden.
Washington State creeps into their rankings too. They're 25th in the first college football playoff rankings. So, the only problem I worry about with this, it seems like when that team gets hyped up, they seem to shit the bed. So
that has a look of like 40.
Hopefully that doesn't
17 or something.
But yeah, I like them. I definitely like them.
Luke Falk looked good last week, and again, best player in the country, you ask me.
Yeah,
best quarterback, Luke Falk.
Okay.
All right, Ryan, that's going to be it for tonight. I want to go bask in my own congratulatory shower after that. I can't believe we hit that. That's so sick.
That is.
I was like. Remember we were talking about we needed...
Before the show, we
needed... no, like even like 5 minutes
20 and 4 minutes.
Yeah, we needed less than 20 points.
20 or less in 4 minutes.
But that's what's great about this game. They just kind of go up and down, and it was a blowout. So it was like Houston wasn't really trying.
I'm telling you what, I'm gonna bring that box score up real quick because I want to see.
James Harden had to have a lot of points because like it looked like he was just
because I want to see what that second half was like as far as the points go.
Well, the Knicks didn't do a lot. I don't think.
No,
Houston
I'll put it this
scored.
way. In the first quarter, Houston scores 33. In the second, they scored 35. In the third, they scored 32. The fourth quarter is where it just kills the over and the under comes through. 33-25 first quarter. Second quarter, 35-26. Third quarter, 32-27.
Right, that's
quarter,
a tired legs,
18-21.
I told-
18-21. What, 39 points combined in the fourth quarter.
Knicks traveled last night. Houston traveled last night off of a game. That's where the tired legs come to you, man.
Crazy.
That's where it comes. And look, I mean, not for nothing. I mean, Houston had 15 threes. And there were 52 free throws in the game. So, I mean, we got lucky, but, you know, again.
That's great. They made a three at the buzzer. That's fine.
Right.
And it still stayed under. Depending on what number you got.
Because
with that line movement, depending on where people bet that number, that three could have fucked. That three definitely fucked some people.
Well, it was a 218 for a while. It was a 218 for a long time.
Well, you know, hey, I'm sure not everyone that bet the game had that number. So.
Right. Well, it's interesting because they actually called a double technical. They called a double technical on Endor and Harrell, two different teams, obviously. This Lithuanian guy misses a three. They get a rebound. He steals the ball from Kyle Wiltshire and then makes a three. So,
Flyers come back and tie it up.
How about that?
Yeah,
good. All right, Ryan. So
Sixers lose again.
Well, did they cover?
Not sure that's they. I don't think so. No.
What was the score, Ryan?
109.93. They definitely didn't cover.
Yeah,
16.
well,
they didn't cover.
Yeah, the line was 13.
Looks like we got a home run here. Oh, was that Ross? Good for the old man.
The line was 13.
Makes up for that error.
Toronto, I bet they covered. Toronto was a good bet tonight. Washington sucks. Lakers. How about the Lakers, Ryan? Atlanta had been rolling, playing really well.
Yeah,
11-point underdogs. The Lakers win by 7.
Yep.
How about that? Good for them. That just goes to show you that you. And Ryan, I want to do a plug right now. I want to plug something, and I don't know if a lot of guys watch this show, but I think if you're a sports fan and you don't watch the show on a daily basis, I think you really are doing yourself a disservice. SBRforum.com, Ryan, they do a show called Sports Bit. Teddy covers, Paul Howard. Best show on the internet as far as sports betting is concerned. They did a show today on NBA betting and how you can profit with NBA betting and kind of what you should look for when you bet NBA. And, you know, they really just reinforced scheduling, back-to-backs, tired legs, you know, situations. A big situation for me, Ryan, when I bet NBA, and Big Fella, ATM, you know Big Fella, he told me this one time, betting a team, like they're off a road trip, 5-game road trip, and they come home. First game home, you always fade that team. That's
a good thing to do in basketball and hockey as well.
Because he was saying, and particularly in basketball, you go home, you got to deal with your wife, your kids, the side piece. You got to deal with all that shit. You know, it's just kind of a lot on your mind.
Yeah,
correct.
You're not as focused.
Right, a lot on your mind.
Yep.
Like tomorrow, you know, Cleveland. You might look to maybe fade them in the next coming days. I don't know. Suns looking like a good game. Portland coming off back-to-back, and the Suns didn't. Suns played last night, actually. But I don't know. I actually kind of like the over in that game, but then I just looked around at the one thing that stood out to me. 6 of the last 7 between those teams have gone under. So, I don't know. I'm going to take the night off, I think.
Yeah.
2-0 is good for me.
Sure.
All right, Ryan. Thanks for coming on. Always good time with you. We'll have a guest back on next week. You know, kind of just wanted to ride solo this week. Just to reinforce, Ryan, we like bets of the week. My best bets: South Alabama -13 against UL Monroe, and Iowa +8 against Penn State. You like Missouri and who do they play? South Carolina under.
Yes, the
56.
Yep.
And
Kentucky +2.
Correct. So, all right. How about that, Ryan? Let's go 4-0.
Let's do it.
Had a good couple weeks here. Feel free, guys. Sunday morning, Week 9 NFL podcast. We'll break everything down 11 o'clock Eastern. We've had 2 great weeks in a row. We'll look to make it a third. Eagles, Giants. You have, what else do you have? I'm trying to remember the other good games.
I can't even think, dude.
No London
I've
game.
had so much stuff going on.
What do you like in tomorrow's game? Falcons and Bucks. Falcons laying 4.
I'd go Falcons.
It looks too
I
easy.
contemplate going over, too.
Looks too easy.
Contemplate going over.
Sure. All right, guys. Everyone have a great night, and we'll see you next time on The Big Men on Campus. Have a great day. Bye-bye.